Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti-yoga Swamini Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashatya Desha Tarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 89, which is the Krishna and Arjuna retrieve the son of the Brahmana, and its text number 18. Translation purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Trividha kritayastasya rakshasa sura guninya mayaya srishta sattvam tattirtha sadhanam Trividha kritayastasya Rakshasa asura Guninya mayaya srishta Sattvam tattirtha sadhanam Trividha kritayastasya Rakshasa asura Guninya mayaya srishta Sattvam tattirtha sadhanam Trividha of three kinds. Akritayaha forms. Tasya of his. Rakshasa the ignorant spirits. Asura the demons. Sura and the demigods. Guninya qualified by the material modes. Mayaya by his material energy. Srishta created. Sattvam the mode of goodness. Tat among them. Tirtha of success in life. Sadhanam the means of attainment. Translation. The Lord expands into three kinds of manifest beings, the Rakshasas, the demons, and the demigods, all of whom are created by the Lord's material energy and conditioned by her modes. But among these three modes, it is the mode of goodness which is the means of attaining life's final success.
Бог се разширява в три вида проявени същества. Ракшасите, демоните и полубогите. Всички те са създадени от материалната цялата енергия на Бога и обусловени от нейните гуни. Но след тези три гуни, гуната на доброто е тази, която е средството за постигане на крайния успех в живота.
Purport. In Krishna, Srila Prabhupada writes, there are different kinds of people existing in the modes of material nature.
Кришна Шрила Прабхупада пише, има различни видове хора, съществуващи в гуните на материалната природа.
Those who are in the mode of ignorance are called rakshasas. Those in the mode of passion are called asuras, demons. And those in the mode of goodness are called suras or demigods.
Тези, които са в гуната на невежеството, се наричат ракшаси. Тези, които са в гуната на страстта, са наричани асури, демони, и тези в гуната на доброто се наричат сури или полубоги.
Under the direction of the Supreme Lord, these three classes of men are created by material nature. But those who are in the mode of goodness have a greater chance to be elevated to the spiritual world, back home, back to Godhead.
По волята на Върховния Бог, тези три различни класове същества са създадени от материалната природа, но тези, които са в гуната на доброто, имат по-голям шанс да се издигнат от духовния свят обратно вкъщи при Бога.
Text 19. Shukadeva Goswami said, the learned Brahmanas living along the river Sarasvati came to this conclusion in order to dispel the doubts of all people. Thereafter they rendered devotional service to the Supreme Lord's lotus feet and attained his abode.
Шукадева Госвами казва, учените брамани, живеещи на брега на река Сарасвати, достигнаха до това заключение, за да разпръснат съмненията на всички хора. След това те отдадаха предно служение на суите до земя Върховния Бог и достигнаха неговото обител.
Text 20. Sri Sutta Goswami said, thus did this fragrant nectar flow from the lotus mouth of Shukadeva Goswami, the son of the sage Vyasadeva. This wonderful glorification of the Supreme Person destroys all fear of material existence. A traveler who constantly drinks this nectar through his ear holes will forget the fatigue brought on by wandering along the paths of worldly life.
Шри Сута Госвами казва, така, този ароматен нектар течеше от устата на Шукадева Госвами, синът на мудреца Вяса. Тази необикновена възхвала на върховната личност разрушава страха от материалното съществуване. Един пътника, който постоянно пие този нектар със своите уши, ще забрави умората, която го изполетява от скитането по пътя на светския живот.
Purport. This narration by Srila Shukadeva Goswami is precious in two ways. For those suffering from spiritual infirmity, it is an effective tonic to cure the disease of illusion, and for surrendered Vaishnavas, it is a delicious and invigorating beverage fragrant with the aroma of Sri Shuka's realizations.
Този разказ от Шрила Шукадева Госвами е ценен по два начина. За тези, които страдат от липса на духовност, това е ефективен тоник, за да излекува болестта на илюзията. И за отдалените вайшнави, това е вкусна и подсилваща напитка, ароматна с реализациите на Шрила Шука.
So that ends this section about Bhrigu Muni and visiting the three deities.
Това е край на тази част от главата, която разказва за Бхригу Муни, посещението на трите божества.
And from this next verse onward, you hear the story of Krishna and Arjuna retrieving the Brahmana's sons.
И от следващия стих ще бъде разказана историята как Кришна и Арджуна връщат сина на Брахмана.
And we are reminded here, we are still in Naimisharanya, and Sutta Goswami is hearing, or he's relating to the sages about Shukadeva Goswami's position, actually.
И тук сме пак в гората на Нишаране, където Шукадева Госвами разказва за позицията на Шукадева Госвами.
So right in the beginning, we have a similar verse. This is verse 3 of the first chapter. Nigama kalpataror, galitam phalam shukha mukhat amrita drava sangyutam pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam muhur aho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. There it says, O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls.
Се казва, о, опитни и мислещи хора, вкусвайте Шримад Бхагаватам, зрелия плод на дървото на желанието на ведическата литература. Той идва от устните на Шукадева Госвами, затова този плод е станал дори по-вкусен, макар неговият нектарен сок вече да е вкусен за всички, включително студените души.
Purport. In the two previous shlokas, it has been definitely proved that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the sublime literature which surpasses all other Vedic scriptures due to its transcendental qualities.
Пояснение. В двете предишни шлоки беше доказано, че Шримад Бхагаватам е най-висшата литература, която надхвърля всички други ведически писания заради трансценденталните си качества.
It is transcendental to all mundane activities and mundane knowledge.
Той е трансцендентален към всички материални дейности и светско знание.
In this shloka it is stated that Srimad Bhagavatam is not only a superior literature, but it is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literatures.
Тази шлока се казва, че Шримад Бхагаватам е не само висша литература, но и зрелия плод на цялата ведическа литература.
In other words, it is the cream of all Vedic knowledge. Considering all this, patient and submissive hearing is definitely essential. With great respect and attention, one should receive the message and lessons imparted by Srimad Bhagavatam.
С голямо почет и внимание човек трябва да получи посланието и уроците дали в Шримад Бхагаватам.
The Vedas are compared to the desire tree because they contain all things knowable by man.
Ведите съставляват дървото на желанието, защото те съдържат всички неща необходими за хората.
They deal with mundane necessities as well as spiritual realization.
Обясняват всички материални нужди и също духовното.
The Vedas contain regulated principles of knowledge covering social, political, religious, economic, military, medicinal, chemical, physical, and metaphysical subject matter, and all that may be necessary to keep the body and soul together.
Ведите съдържат регулиращи принципи за знанието, включващо социално, политически, религиозни, икономически, военни, медицински, химични, физични, метафизични теми и те всички могат да бъдат необходими, за да се поддържа тялото и всичко, което е необходимо да се поддържа тялото и душата заедно.
Above and beyond all this are specific directions for spiritual realization.
Най-вече има специфични насоки за духовното знание.
Regulated knowledge involves a gradual raising of the living entity to the spiritual platform, and the highest spiritual realization is knowledge that the personality of Godhead is the reservoir of all spiritual tastes or rasas.
Регулираното знание включва постепенно издигане на живото същество на духовната платформа и най-висша духовна реализация знанието за личността на Бога, който е изтичане на всички духовни емоции и реакции.
Every living entity, beginning from Brahma, the first born living being, within the material world, down to the insignificant ant, desires to relish some sort of taste derived from sense perceptions.
Всяко живо същество, като се започне от Брахма, първото родено същество в този материален свят, до най-незначителната мравка, желая да вкусва някакъв вид, да опитва някакъв вид вкус, извлечен усетимо възприятие.
These sensual pleasures are technically called rasas.
Тези сентимни удоволствия технически са наречени раси.
Such rasas are of different varieties.
Такива раси са разнообразни.
In the revealed scriptures, the following 12 varieties of rasas are enumerated.
Свещените писания обясняват 12 раси.
One is Raudra, anger.
Първо, Раудра, гняв.
Adbhuta, wonder.
Адбута, учудване.
Shringara, conjugal love.
Шрингара, съпружеска любов.
Hasya, comedy.
Хасия, комедия.
Veera, chivalry.
Вира, рицарство.
Daya, mercy.
Дая, милост.
Dasya, servitorship.
Дася, служение.
Sakya, fraternity.
Сакия, приятелство.
Bhayanaka, horror.
Янака, ужас.
Bhibhatsa, shock.
Вибрация, шок.
Shanta, neutrality.
Шанта, неутралност.
And 12 is Vatsalya, parenthood.
12 Ватсалия, родителство.
Now these are the 12 primary, you could say. I mean, there's 5, even amongst those are 5 who are called primary, but these are the 12 main rasas.
Това са 12-те главни раси, от тях 5 са основни.
And then each one you can have so many subcategories.
Всяка една от тях има различни подкатегории.
But all these rasas, they comprise different experiences of taste the living entity can have.
Всички тези раси осигуряват разнообразни преживявания, които може да има и вкусове живите същества.
You imagine you take away all these rasas.
Си представим, че премахнем всички тези раси.
Life without any of them.
Живот без нито една от тях.
Без расово общество.
Then what? So, completely boring. You know. But that is the idea of those who strive to, how we would call it, nirguna. Guna means quality or no rasa, nothing. Nir is the negation, nothing, nada. Zero. Shunyavadi is the same thing. Or nirvishesha. Vishesha means variety. Nir, no variety. And it's only ek. It's only one. And they speak of Brahmananda, the pleasure of merging into Brahman. But once you have merged, then what? You simply are. Some of these so-called philosophers, they speak of just be. You don't do anything, you don't think anything, don't feel anything, just be. It's boring. Just to be is what for? It is just being. So, no. Therefore, Krishna is called Rasovaisaha. He's the reservoir of all pleasure. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada continues to say that the sum total of all these rasas is called affection or love. And that is truth, universal truth. Everybody is wanting that. To love and to be loved. And of course, in the material world, unfortunately, this is quite problematic. So now we'll see, Prabhupada will speak about this also. So primarily, such signs of love are manifested in adoration, service, friendship, paternal affection, and conjugal love. These are the 5 primary: Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya rasas.
Основно тези признаци на любов се проявяват в пожание, служение, приятелство, родителска обич и съпружеска любов.
So then, when these 5 are absent, then love is present indirectly in anger, wonder, comedy, chivalry, fear, shock, and so on.
Когато тези 5 отсъстват, любовта индиректно присъства като гняв, удивление, смях, лицарство, страх, шок и така.
Yes. For example, when a man is in love with a woman, the rasa is called conjugal love.
Например, когато мъж е влюбен в жена, расата е наречена съпружеска любов.
But when such love affairs are disturbed, there may be wonder, anger, shock, or even horror.
Когато тези любовни взаимоотношения са нарушени, може да се появи очудване, гняв, шок или дори ужас.
Sometimes love affairs between 2 persons culminate in, not what you think, ghastly murder scenes. That's what all, 90% of the movies are about, right? Otherwise, who wants to watch something? There has to be something going on, and then finally this, yeah, hey Joe, where are you going with your gun in your hand? I'm going to shoot my lady, She's messing around with another man. Very famous song, I remember, I tried to sing it also. It didn't work out the same way, but eternal truth. How many, as I say, how many movies or theaters or songs are about this? You can't count practically. It's unlimited. Yeah. Love and death, these are the main themes. Sex and crime. Yeah, that's what sells. Such rasas are displayed between man and between animal and animal, and there's no possibility of an exchange or rasa between a man and an animal or between a man and any other species of living beings within the material world.
Няма възможност на размяна на раса между човек и животно или човек и други форми на живи същества в материалния свят.
The rasas are exchanged between members of the same species.
Расите са обменени между определените форми на живота.
But as far as the spirit souls are concerned, they are one qualitatively with the Supreme Lord.
Що се отнася до душите, те са еднакви в качествено отношение с Върховния.
Therefore, the rasas were originally exchanged between the spiritual living being and the spiritual whole, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Затова расите са изначално обменени между духовните живи същества и духовното цяло божествената личност.
The spiritual exchange or rasa is fully exhibited in spiritual existence between living beings and the Supreme Lord.
Духовните взаимоотношения или раса са напълно проявени в духовното съществуване между живите същества и Върховния Бог.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is therefore described in the Shruti mantras, Vedic hymns, as the fountainhead of all rasas.
Затова върховната божествена личност описана в Шрути мантрите, ведическите химни, като изворът на всички раси.
And when one associates with the Supreme Lord and exchanges one's constitutional rasa with the Lord, then the living being is actually happy.
И когато душата общува с Върховния Бог и обменя своята изначална раса с Бога, тогава живото същество е действително щастливо.
And therefore in this verse we read from the 10th canto, Sutta Goswami, he refers to this wonderful glorification, the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is full of this type of rasa.
И това, както четохме в стиха от 10-та песен, е възхваляван този процес на взаимоотношенията с Бога, които са изпълнени с раса.
We remember when Vyasadeva was a little bit frustrated.
Спомняме си как когато Вясадева е бил малко разочарован.
And it is described that he wasn't really sure why.
И се описва, че той не бил сигурен защо.
And then Narada Muni enlightened him, telling him that yes, you have described so many things and compiled so many Vedic literatures, but something was missing.
Тогава Нарада Муни му обяснил как той се става толкова много ведически произведения, но нещо липсвало.
So the description of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is then full of rasa.
Това, което липсва е описанието на върховната божествена личност, което е изпълнено с раса.
So that's the Bhagavatam is therefore very different from any other Vedic literature.
Затова Шримад Бхагаватам е много различен от другата ведическа литература.
The description is of the Lord Himself and the exchange, the relationship with so many different devotees.
Описанията са на Бога с неговите взаимоотношения с различни предади.
And especially, therefore, the 10th canto, where all the pastimes means it's just always exchange of rasa.
И затова и в 10-та песен особено са описани всички тези забавления. Забавление означава размяна на раса.
And there definitely you have all the 12 that were described. There's also horror.
И там има всички 12 описани тук и също и ужаса.
But that's a different type of horror. It's so beautiful horror that everybody who experiences it is in ecstasy, even the demons.
Всички, които го преживяват, са в екстаз, дори демоните.
That's Krishna. You know? If it's in the material world, it's ghastly.
Ако е в материалния свят, е ужасяващо.
But when Krishna kills demons, it's just like a child playing with his toys and maybe just throwing it against the wall and the thing falls apart. So, and nobody is a loser. Even the demon who is killed, he gains. And Krishna enjoys fighting. The demon enjoys being killed. So, and then what to speak of the other pastimes, when it's anakulya, it's very favorable, then you're dancing and singing and taking prasada. No limit, there's no indigestion, no allergic reaction to anything.
Какво да говорим за позитивните забавления, размяна на любов, пеене, танци и приемане на прасада. И там няма ограничения, няма лошо усмиване или алергични реакции.
Yeah, I mean, material world, there are so many limitations. Even if you're very healthy, what about the quantity? It's limited, unfortunately. And you don't imitate the Romans, that's offensive. Throwing out the person. No, you can't do that. So therefore you have to wait so many hours until you can take again. But in the spiritual world, there's no limitation.
духовния свят няма ограничения.
Just think about it. So, let's see. How are we doing? Oh, we're still quite okay. Let's continue. The very important purport here. The Shruti mantras indicate that every living being has its constitutional position, which is endowed with a particular type of rasa to be exchanged with the personality of Godhead.
Shruti мантрите обясняват, че всяко живо същество има изначална позиция, което е надарено с определените раса да бъде разменена с духовната личност.
In the liberated condition only, this primary rasa is experienced in full.
Но тази първична раса е изцяло обменена само в освободеното състояние.
In the material existence, the rasa is experienced in the perverted form, which is temporary.
В материалното съществуване расата е преживяна в изкривена форма, която е временна.
And thus, the rasas of the material world are exhibited in the material form of raudra, anger, and so on.
Материалният свят се проявява в материалните форми на раудра, гняв и така нататък.
Therefore, one who attains full knowledge of these different rasas, which are the basic principles of activities, can understand the false representations of the original rasas, which are reflected in the material world. Now it's going out. It's some liquid, some rasa. Rasohaps, ham apsu kauntea. Not ice cold, as you know.
Това, този, който постигне пълно знание за тези различни, които са основните принципи на дейността, може да разбере извън проявления на изначалните раси, които са отразени в материалния свят.
Just right temperature. Score. Where are we?
The learned scholar.
And so on, no? Yes. Therefore, no. One who had
The
that?
learned scholar seeks to...
The learned scholar, yes. The learned scholar seeks to relish the real rasa in the spiritual form.
Истинският учен се опитва да преживява истинска раса в духовната форма.
In the beginning, he desires to become one with the Supreme.
Началото желая да стане едно с Върховния.
Well, that's Shanta Rasa, the first basic connection with the Supreme.
Първото основно Шанта раса.
Thus, less intelligent transcendentalists cannot go beyond this conception of becoming one with the spirit whole without knowing of the different rasas.
Така, по-ниско интелигентните трансценденталисти не могат да преминат отвъд тази представа за сливането с духовното цяло, без да разбират различните раси.
In this shloka, it is definitely stated that spiritual rasa, which is relished even in the liberated stage, can be experienced in the literature of the Srimad Bhagavatam due to its being the ripened fruit of all Vedic knowledge.
Тази шлока категорично се заявява, че духовната раса, която е изпитвана дори на освободено състояние, може да бъде преживяна в литературата на Шримад Бхагаватам, заради това, че той е зрелият плод на цялото ведическо знание.
By submissively hearing this transcendental literature, one can attain the full pleasure of his heart's desire.
Като смирено слуша тази трансцендентална литература, човек може да изпита пълно удоволствие и удовлетворение в сърцето.
Yeah, this is a little later described. Shushushro Shradadhanasya Vasudeva Kata Ruchi. One will attain a taste for hearing the Vasudeva Kata descriptions about Krishna.
Това е описано как човек развива вкус към слушането на трансценденталното описание на дейностите на Кришна.
So the conditions are Shushushro Shradadhanasya, to hear with faith, with submission, and in the second part also to render service to the devotees.
И условието е човек да слуша внимателно, с покорство, и второто условие да служи напред.
But one must be very careful to hear the message from the right source.
Но човек трябва да е внимателен да слуша това послание от правилния източник.
And Srimad Bhagavatam is exactly received from the right source.
Шримад Бхагаватам е получен от правилния източник.
It was brought by Narada Muni from the spiritual world and given to his disciple Sri Vyasadeva.
Той е бил донесен от Нарада Муни в духовния свят и даден на ученика си Шрила Вясадева.
And Vyasadeva in turn delivered the message to his son Srila Shukadeva Goswami, and Srila Shukadeva Goswami delivered the message to Maharaj Parikshit just 7 days before the king's death.
Вясадева е дал посланието на неговия син Шрила Шукадева Госвами и Шрила Шукадева Госвами го е предал на Марадж Парикшит 7 дни преди смъртта на царя.
Srila Shukadeva Goswami was a liberated soul from his very birth.
Шрила Шукадева Госвами бил освободен от душа от раждането си.
He was liberated even in the womb of his mother, and he did not undergo any sort of spiritual training after his birth.
Той бил вече освободен в утробата на майка си и не преминал през никакво духовно обучение след раждането.
At birth, no one is qualified, neither in the mundane nor in the spiritual sense. But Sri Shukadeva Goswami, due to his being a perfectly liberated soul, did not have to undergo an evolutionary process of spiritual realization.
Когато се роди, никой не е квалифициран нито в светски, нито в духовен смисъл. Но Шрила Шукадева Госвами, заради това, че бил съвършено освободен от душа, не е трябвало да премине през постепенния процес на духовно съзнаване.
Yet despite his being a completely liberated person situated in the transcendental position above the three material modes, he was attracted to this transcendental rasa of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is adored by liberated souls who sing Vedic hymns.
И макар да бил напълно освободена личност, установена в трансценденталната позиция отвъд трите гуни, той бил привлечен към трансценденталната раса на върховната божествена личност, обожаван от освободените души, които е възпяван в ведическите химни.
Yeah, from Krishna is called Uttama Shloka.
Които възпяван и пеят ведическите химни. Затова е Кришна наречен Уттама Шлока.
Shlokas or hymns that are uttama, beyond the ignorance of material existence.
Шлока е химни, които са Уттама отвъд материалното съществуване.
The Supreme Lord's pastimes are more attractive to liberated souls than to mundane people.
Забавленията на Върховния Бог са по-привлекателни за освободените души, отколкото за материалисти.
He is of necessity not impersonal because it is not possible to carry on transcendental rasa with it's only possible to carry on transcendental rasa with a person.
Има нужда да безличностно, защото е единствено възможно да се разменя трансцендентална раса с личност.
So that's, such a simple statement and very profound conclusion.
Това е едно обикновено изречение с много дълбоко заключение.
He's of necessity, not impersonal.
Това по необходимост не може да бъде нещо безличностно.
Because the rasa is a fact.
Защото расата, това е някакъв факт.
We experience it in the material world. Everybody wants it. There's nobody who doesn't want it.
Ние преживяваме в този свят, всички желаят, няма някой, който не желая.
As we pointed out again, even the Mayavadis like it.
Както казахме, дори Майавадите,
which is proof. That's like an indirect proof, They try to still avoid and say, it's only an appearance, but I like it. So, therefore, there is some criticism. Sometimes somebody has a doubt. He says, so why are you going to this appearance? This is hypocrisy. We should just go to the one and forget about rasa. There is no rasa. We don't want rasa. But the fact is, everybody wants rasa. Even you. You are talking, but, don't be honest. Yeah, that person who asked that question, then you find out, you go a little bit, what about your life? You avoid all your nirguna. You avoid all tastes. Well, and some will try artificially to do that. I mean, Prabhupada used to give the example. If you offer a Mayavadi a rasgulla, you'll go like this, this is dangerous, don't even look at it. I fall into Maya. Or they go into the mountains, into a cave, just to avoid all the variety of life. I mean, sit in a cave all day and night and what? Meditate on what? On nothing. Or go into the river, up to your neck. And so therefore it says, yes, arucha krishena parampadam patantyado. Very severe, living in a cave alone or in ice cold water. It's arucha krishena, very painful austerity. So you can do that for some time. Then at the end, patantyadho, you fall down because it's you want to taste something, at least something. Even if it's bread without salt, it's better than nothing. Yeah, if there's nothing, even that is like nectar. So why? Because a living entity by nature wants to enjoy. Anandamaya, you cannot avoid it. Krishna is rasovai saha, and you are not the fountain, but you like to drink from the fountain. So therefore, yes, it's only possible to do that with a person. Therefore, this absolute truth ultimately is a person. Otherwise, how can there be rasa? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are narrated, and the narration is systematically depicted by Srila Shukadeva Goswami.
Шримад Бхагаватам, трансценденталните заповедания на Бога са разказани и тези разкази са систематично описани от Шрила Госвами.
Thus, the subject matter is appealing to all classes of persons, including those who seek liberation and those who seek to become one with the Supreme Whole.
Затова тази тема е привлекателна към всички личности, включително тези, които търсят освобождение или търсят вкуса да стават едно с върховното цяло.
In Sanskrit, the parrot is also known as shuka.
На санскрит папагалът е наречен шука.
When ripened fruit is cut by the red beaks of such birds, its sweet flavor is enhanced.
Когато зрелият плод е докоснат от червените клювове на тези птици, сладкият му вкус се увеличава.
Even in ordinary, like let's say we had a tree, apricot tree in Spain, and this was that's the only place you can really get the real thing, because if you buy it on the market, they're all fake in the sense they're taken when they're green and there's no taste. You pay a lot of money for nothing. And the ones from the tree, when they're ripened by the sun, they're really something else, as sweet as nectar.
Тези, които зреят на дървото от слънцето, е нещо съвсем различно.
And among those, then there are some that have some little bird had come and taken out a little piece.
И сред тези има някои, които някоя птица дошла и пробнала малко.
And these are the best. Because they know Krishna somehow or other. They are so intelligent, or they can smell. I don't know how they do it. Amongst all the different apricots that are on that tree, they go to one that's the best of all, the sweetest of all, and they take their part.
Кришна ми дава интелигентността и от всичките плодове на дървото, той отива при най-доброто и си взема тяхната част.
So the shuka, we didn't have mango trees, unfortunately, but not in that area. If you go to Malaga, you can also have that. But there's no parrots. Well, nowadays there are even parrots. But not the real ones, only these small green ones. But the real one, like shuka, there you go, and they take out a little bit from the mango, and then that's like the best of the best.
Ние нямаме в Малага манго, това сега наречи, нямаме папагали или имам от тези малките зелени, но тези големи папагали, които е шука, когато отхвърне от зрялото манго, то става най-добре.
So, the Vedic fruit, which is mature and ripe in knowledge, is spoken through the lips of Srila Shukadeva Goswami, who is compared to the parrot, not for his ability to recite the Bhagavatam exactly as he heard it from his learned father, but for his ability to present the work in a manner that would appeal to all classes of men.
Физическият плод, който е озрял и насипен със знание, е изговорен чрез устните на Шила Шукадева Госвами, който е сравнен с папагала, не заради способността си да рецитира Бхагаватам точно както го е чул от неговия учен баща, но за способността му да представи знанието по такъв начин, който ще бъде привлекателен за всички класи хора.
The subject matter is so presented through the lips of Srila Shukadeva Goswami that any sincere listener that hears submissively can at once relish transcendental tastes which are distinct from the perverted tastes of the material world.
Темите са така представени от устните на Шила Шукадева Госвами, че всеки искрен слушател, който чува смирено, може веднага да вкуси трансценденталното блаженство, което е различно от извратените вкусове на материалния свят.
The ripened fruit is not dropped all of a sudden from the highest planet of Krishna Loka.
Зрелият плод не пада изведнъж от най-висшата планета Кришна Лока.
Rather, it comes down carefully through the chain of disciplic succession without change or disturbance.
По-скоро идва, и то е спуснат внимателно по веригата на ученическата приемственост, без промяна или притеснение.
Foolish people who are not in the transcendental disciplic succession commit great blunders by trying to understand the highest transcendental rasa known as the rasa dance without following in the footsteps of Shukadeva Goswami, who presents this fruit very carefully by stages of transcendental realization.
Глупаците, които не са в трансценденталната ученическа приемственост, извършват най-голямата грешка, като се опитват да разберат висшата трансцендентална раса, наречена раса танц, без да следват стъпките на Шукадева Госвами, които представят този плод много внимателно на етапи на трансценденталното съзнание.
One should be intelligent enough to know the position of Srimad Bhagavatam by considering personalities like Shukadeva Goswami, who deals with the subject so carefully.
Човек трябва да е достатъчно интелигентен да разбере позицията на Шримад Бхагаватам, като разбере това от личности Шукадева Госвами, който много внимателно представя темата.
This process of disciplic succession of the Bhagavad school suggests that in the future also Srimad Bhagavatam has to be understood from a person who is factually a representative of Srila Shukadeva Goswami.
Този процес на ученическата заемственост на Бхагавата школата предполага, че в бъдеще също Шримад Бхагаватам трябва да бъде разбран чрез или от личността, която действително представя Шрила Шукадева Госвами.
So that's the special really special quality of Srila Prabhupada. Presenting Srimad Bhagavatam in that way and Bhagavad Gita as it is, not as somebody thinks it may be. Otherwise, there are others who are disqualified, because we will now hear about the professionals, but also the impersonal philosophers. If they speak about Bhagavad Gita especially, they just twist the meaning to draw out another understanding which is not according to disciplic succession.
Иначе има и други, които не са квалифицирани, които тълкуват особено Бхагавад Гита и представят знанието изкривено според тяхното разбиране.
So those with the Bhagavad Gita, they try to present impersonal aspect of philosophy based on Bhagavad Gita.
Те се опитват да представят имперсонална философия, основаваща се на Бхагавад Гита.
And then they will dare to say that when Krishna says, think of me, it doesn't really mean that. It means the impersonal Brahman speaking through Krishna. That's what they say.
Те дори се осмеляват да кажат, че когато Кришна казва мисли за мен, няма преди това. Става дума за безличностния Брахман, който говори чрез.
So suddenly the Brahman speaks, think of me. Which doesn't make any sense at all. And on the other hand, we have we'll see now the professionals who take Bhagavatam in a different way, just as an entertainment. And entertainment means you entertain and people pay. So a professional man who makes a business out of reciting Srimad Bhagavatam illegally is certainly not a representative of Shukadeva Goswami.
Професионалният човек, който прави бизнес от четенето на Бхагаватам, незаконно и със сигурност не е представител на Шукадева Госвами.
Such a man's business is only to earn his livelihood.
Единствената му цел е да спечели и си изкара прехраната.
Therefore, one should refrain from hearing the lectures of such professional men.
Затова човек трябва да се въздържа да слуша лекциите на такива професионални.
Such men usually go to the most confidential part of the literature without undergoing the gradual process of understanding this grave subject.
Такива хора обикновено отиват към най-поверителната част на тази литература, без да преминат през постепенния процес на разбирането на тази сериозна тема.
They usually plunge into the subject matter of the rasa dance, which is misunderstood by the foolish class of men.
Те обикновено се потапят в темата на раса танца, което е неправилно разбирано от глупавите хора.
Some of them take this to be immoral, while others try to cover it up by their own stupid interpretations.
Някои от тях приемат това за неморално, докато други се опитват да го покрият със собствените си глупави интерпретации.
They have no desire to follow in the footsteps of Srila Shukadeva Goswami.
Те не желаят да следват стъпките на Шукадева Госвами.
One should conclude, therefore, that the serious student of the rasa should receive the message of Bhagavatam in the chain of disciplic succession from Srila Shukadeva Goswami, who describes the Bhagavatam from its very beginning, and not whimsically to satisfy the mundaner who has very little knowledge in transcendental science.
Следователно заключението е, че сериозният ученик на раса трябва да получи посланието на Бхагаватам в ученическата приемственост от Шрила Шукадева Госвами, който описал Бхагаватам от самото начало и нека признос да удовлетвори светските хора, които имат много малко знание в трансценденталната наука.
Srimad Bhagavatam is so carefully presented that a sincere and serious person can at once enjoy the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge simply by drinking the nectarian juice through the mouth of Shukadeva Goswami or his bona fide representative.
Шримад Бхагаватам е толкова внимателно представен, че един искрен и сериозен човек може веднага да се наслаждава на озрелия плод на ведическото знание, просто като пие нектарния сок чрез устата на Шукадева Госвами или неговият авторитетен представител.
And therefore Sutta Goswami says here in this verse 20 of the chapter 89, thus did this fragrant nectar flow from the lotus mouth of Shukadeva Goswami, the son of the sage Vyasadeva. This wonderful glorification of the Supreme Person destroys all fear of material existence. A traveler who constantly drinks this nectar through his ear holes will forget the fatigue brought on by wandering along the paths of worldly life.
Затова 20 текст от главата 10 песен. Сута Госвами казва така, този ароматен нектар течеше от лотосовата уста на Шукадева Госвами, синът на мъдреца Вяса. Тази необикновена възхвала на Върховния Бог разрушава страховете от материалното съществуване. Един пътник, който постоянно пие този нектар със своите уши, ще забрави умората от посилното скитане по пътя на светския живот.
Just see three results at least one gets here.
Може да видим от такова слушане изтичат поне 3 резултата.
Fear of material existence, which is all pervading, bhaya, it's destroyed.
Унищожава съпроникващият страх, който е във всички.
And fatigue, worldly life is struggle for existence. You become fatigued. And that is also destroyed. And while drinking, well, there is some taste. Not just some, it's all varieties of tastes. It's really saguna to the fullest. So, who will not then hear Srimad Bhagavatam? Well, the crows. That's Srimad Bhagavatam says that itself. Not the swans, the crows. They go to the garbage.
Това е което казва Бхагаватам. Не лебедите, те искат да пият това, но гарбите, които отиват на Букук.
And why do they go? I mean, one may wonder, why? Yes, those who have been in India, you can actually see them sitting on the big, even if you look up in Google, you'll find so many pictures of crows on a garbage heap.
Защо отиват там в Индия или в Google, може да видим снимки как те стоят върху кучи на Букук.
And generally, garbage heaps, I mean, sometimes we have also pictures of small children going through the garbage, looking for something valuable, or you can use. But whoever has come near to, really a garbage dump, the smell is like intolerable. But the crows go there, yes, because I like it. You bring me to a lake with clear water and lotus flowers. Horrible. Yeah. So you represent Srimad Bhagavatam to a crow-like person. I don't like that. No interest. And then you present the ghastly murder scene. More blood, the better. It's nectar. This is how it is. So, any comments on this? Ladies first.
How Krishna assigns a rasa for each soul?
You have to ask him. I don't know. But that's a really how you say it, very special subject matter. There's also different ways to look at it. What to say. Just there, I mean, but it can also be changed. There's, as I say, different ways to look at it. It's not static that, you're condemned to that rasa and then you think, I would like to... No, this is your rasa. Shut up. That's our, material life. One may have some experience like this. One is like, you have to, but eat. You have to eat. You can't eat that. You only have to eat this. Oh my God! So it's not like that. It's not like the cow is there in the field and Krishna and Balarama with the cows, and the cows are thinking, I'm really tired of being a cow, and I want to dance in the rasa dance like a gopi, but I'm condemned to be a cow. It's a miserable life. No. So, actually it is explained that each living entity is completely happy in the relationship they have. But in case somebody wants to have a little different experience, it's possible. It's not like a general thing, everybody is jumping around from one rasa to the next, Oh, today I'm going to be, this, and tomorrow I'm going to have that rasa. No. That's how I understand it. But, how it's assigned, we may think like this, but probably more complicated, or more, more intricate. It's not karmic, whatever we have now in this body, it's a karmic thing. And we may not like it. So, but spiritual is really different. Okay. Anything else?
My question is
more basic? Good, thank you.
Why devotees are not attracted? Some devotees are not really attracted to hear the Bhagavatam regularly, as there is a statistical data about
that. You know the answer. There's the param drishtva nivartate. You only can let go of lower tastes if you actually experience a higher taste. Otherwise, rasovarjam, rasopyasya. You give up the taste, but it's still there. But one should just continue to practice the purification process. Because naturally the soul is attracted. But when consciousness is mixed with, material conceptions and identifications, then the attraction is the other way. And it's also mixed, it's not like black and white. Or even phases sometimes one is a little bit more attracted. And then it's like, it's a process, it's like getting cured from a disease, and it may take time depending how grave the contamination is. And it may take lifetimes. I mean, we hope, the idea is to do it in one life, but maybe not possible for everybody.
Надяваме се, идеята е да го приключим за един живот, но може да не е възможно за всички.
But the principle is the same. It's a matter of attraction, which comes from Sangha.
Принципът е същия. Въпрос на привличане, което се ражда от сангата, от общуване.
So sadhu sangha, that's the idea, but if there's not enough, or maybe even not enough quality sadhu sangha, then we have to have some sangha. So there's going to be other type of sangha. And then sanjayate kama, desires develop.
Необходимо ни е садо санга, но тя трябва да е с определеното качество и достатъчно, ако нямаме, ще има друго общуване и в резултат на другото общуване се раждат желания.
What to do? Patience, determination, and enthusiasm will help. It's all in Rupa Goswami. Upadeshamrita will give all the answers. Because 6 things just the opposite effect, that you will become less and less attracted. Or you lose your attraction. If there's maybe there was some attraction, it gets lost again. Why? So the answers are there.
Може да си развил някакъв вкус, но го изгубиш. Защо? Там дадем отговор.
Yeah, it's not as easy as sometimes we say. Just chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
Толкова лесно, колкото казването му повтаря Харе Кришна да бъде щастлив.
Anyway, stay high forever. that was in the beginning very attractive for those who wanted to be high forever. I mean, we were thinking like this, that you come to a stage where you break through the wall, and then it's just going to be a continuous trip. You never come down. It never happened. So, but then these Hare Krishnas came and they promised you, you stay high forever. So, oh yeah, well, let's do it. Sounds good. Yeah. Many became devotees because of that.
How much? It's free. Oh, free stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So we stop here. Yes. Go ahead.
If you allow me, the question which Mahendra raised about the taste of Bhagavatam among the devotees, and we can look at this problem. It's a problem from more esoteric or more pragmatic angle, and pragmatically speaking, it's like looks like many of us cannot arrange, cannot organize their life so that they can fit Bhagavatam in their life somehow.
That's bogus.
Yeah.
Sure. You can fit Facebook in your life.
Yes, of course.
I mean, no doubt about it. And not just 2 minutes. I mean, I had one person who was confessing. I mean, really confessing. I can't chant all my life. I'm spending 8 hours on Facebook every day.
Един предан просто си признае, каза, аз не мога да свърша кръговете, защото прекарам по 8 часа във Фейсбук.
So it's your choice.
Това е твоя избор.
Oh, there's also devotees and there's some pictures of Krishna.
Но там има също не с снимка на Кришна.
Right. So it's almost transcendental.
Почти трансцендентално.
It's the 6th Veda. Or whatever, the internet this is the problem, actually. because there's so much time spent on going to this page and that page and this video and that video, but Bhagavatam, I have no time. I tried, but I have no time.
Another feature is regarding the Facebook compared to Bhagavatam. Why 8 hours on this is arrangeable, possible, but the other one is cannot make it. It's because one doesn't require focus and steady attention.
And submissive hearing is there also.
Yeah, it's there.
But it's just the wrong source. Anyway, so we know what the problem is. It's not that, I cannot fit into my life. I mean, you have 24 hours like everybody else. Prabhupada would say, sleep less and eat less.
I mean, because just even among the devotees, some devotees are more organized and some are more chaotic. And this is if you cultivate being organized, it's enormously helps sadhana and everything. So this kind of material quality can be converted easily to spiritual.
So do it. Give seminars about being organized. There's lots of books how to organize and how to attain goals and yes. Get things done.
Yeah, for small birds, the mother cannot just give them some big chunks of something. They give them some already, something
pre-chewed.
So
pre-digested.
Yeah, and then also in the.
But for how long? I mean, that may be in the very beginning stages. Then it's supposed that the bird grows, no? I mean, how long will you get pre-digested and pre-chewed food? That's for babies. Not even babies take that.
With the advancement of Kali Yuga, the period of becoming mature takes longer.
So take birth again. That's what it means.
Yeah.
So, and pray that it's going to be maybe not in Bulgaria. But where? In America? No. In Spain? No. In Germany? No. In England? Oh, less. No, not in England. So there's no place. In China maybe. No, not in India. Forget it.
Moon on Mars?
Yes, Mars. Mars probably, it's uncontaminated. There's no internet, I'm sure. Huh? But they will find a way. They'll find a way. No bars yet.
Should search very hard.
But it will all come. So what's the solution? Yeah, what's the solution? Just suffer, that's all. I mean, that's what it's meant for. Yeah. Suffering is like hammering and fire to make gold pure. Yes. So don't complain. You just suffer, and at one point you say, I'm tired, fatigued. Then you hear Bhagavatam and you get refreshed. Akinchana Gochara. I mean, everything is actually there if you look for it or if you know it. Like there's nothing new. Queen Kunti already said it. If you are after Janmaishvara Shruta Shrivi, then Edamana, you become intoxicated and there's no sincere feeling, no sincere desire to hear Bhagavatam. And so, then, what to do? Just become a millionaire and suffer. Become the president of a country and suffer. Yeah. That's what people want. Don't they? Become rich and famous and powerful. Good luck, yeah, right. There's so many examples of miserable millionaires and famous people and powerful people. They're not refreshed. Fatigued and full of fear. Because time is taking away everything. It's just a matter of time. The money stays here. You go.
I was very impressed because George Harrison, he's not faking it. He's telling the people what it is to be like super rich, super famous. So he's just telling them. And when I read this first time, I was very impressed. Like, because most of the rich people, they hide their suffering. Yeah, they hide it. They fake. They do anything to prolong the illusion that
That's right.
to cheat others and themselves. But George Harrison, he just telling everything, and he's not pretending. I'm happy. And I listened to some of very sober interviews. They invite him in some studio to make talk show and to make it lively, and he's speaking super grave things. And I was like,
yeah, but no, who listens?
Yeah.
He didn't even listen to himself.
Apparently.
I mean, more or less. We don't want to. I mean, Prabhupada liked him and he engaged him in service. But difficult, huh?
Oh, yeah.
To give up smoking, to give up this, to give up that. Not easy.
When you hear it right here,
It's difficult.
smiling.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, but it's and we have, as you say, why does it happen to we know, but at the same time, you can't really,
no power.
get over it. It's like Arjuna's dilemma, why are we forced to act in a way that we know it's not good? Everything is there. It's nothing new. 5,000 years ago, 1,000,000 years ago, now and in the future, it will be always the same situation. We may know, but still we don't do the right thing.
Yeah,
Kama esha, krodha esha. Raja, yes, I like it. I know it's only rock and roll, but I like it. I mean, it's also a realization. I know, but I like it. Before it was wine. What was it? In the 18th century or 19th, wine, women, and song. They have, there are pictures like this, a man with a glass of wine in his hand, the lady here, like so that's like the old-fashioned, and then it just the same thing just becomes converted and sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Same thing.
Next century.
Exactly the same thing. Just fast forward 1 century, and then in a few hundred years, who knows what it will be? Artificial intelligence, cyber sex or whatever, and all virtual, but the same thing. Even the demigods have the same problem. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. The Apsaras, the Somarasa, and Gandharva singing. It's a little more, high class. Exactly. Instead of an old Volkswagen, you have a Rolls Royce. But it's 4 wheels and you're going. That's all. Or a cart with a mule in front. But it's the same thing. So we want, the spiritual world is different. It's rasa dance and prasada and singing, songs with Krishna maybe. The gopis sing also. These things are there, it's just the quality is different. Here it's just a reflection, but the original is good. It's not that it's bad. Right? Therefore, when they don't know, as Prabhupada pointed out, they hear these stories about Krishna and the gopis, and they think it's the same thing. And there's Varuni, yeah? It's not that it's everything is there. Huh? Yeah. Okay, so I think I did my duty. Now I can do whatever I want. You know the story, no? Shrutakirti told Prabhupada, just showing him, he was in Los Angeles chanting japa, and then the last beat he put down, he said, I'm finished, now I can do whatever I want. Anyway, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ranjara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sisi Gonitai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna.